It's a lot pinier, But yeah, it's really, heather honey is really interesting. Think lavender with kind of a pine undertone.
That is interesting.
Uh-huh.
Huh. That would probably go really good with juniper berries.
Yeah, oh yeah. There was a now no longer open meadery called Smokehouse in southwestern Virginia, and he did a spruce tip mead that was divine. Oh my gosh, it was sublime. It really was very, very good. And unfortunately, he's no longer open. But that's something I haven't seen. I've only seen 2 spruce tip meads in 20 years. That guy and another meadery that's not open any longer. And it wasn't because their spruce tip mead wasn't good, so don't get that idea that it's not good. They just happen to be meaderies. Yeah, it is hard to do, yeah. Both of these are really good meads. It just meaderies just happen to be, they closed for various reasons. It had nothing to do with the quality of their mead. But, Hamish is tempting us now. He's going, we have Australian heather. And then, you want to get eucalyptus mead, which is really different.
Very different.
I have heard that.
I've had
avocado honey before, which is interesting.
I've heard that. I want to try macadamia nut honey, which is another one of those, champagne honeys. But Pete Bucklich is always dangling that in front of me. I found macadamia pecan honey. It's like, you bastard.
I should actually reach out to the ladies at Nanny Moon, because they've come out to my shop to visit before.
They have?
I can get it and ship them over. Yeah.
Yeah, Paul Johnson brought me back a tiny bottle of Nanny Moon. They were running their coconut mead the day he was there, so I got a little bottle of that. But I haven't had their macadamia one yet, though.
See, Vicky, the only thing you need to be aware of is that saying eucalypt is about as good as saying mead.
Really?
There are like almost every tree. If you go to the bush here.
Okay, so can we say leatherwood then? That's another one that's really weird.
Leatherwood is very, very, very small and specific to only the southernmost island of Australia, in Tasmania.
Yeah.
It's very hard for even me to get, and it's very expensive. But yeah, it is weird.
It is weird.
I'll bring you over a sample bottle.
Oh yeah. Give me honey sticks for some of the weirder meads, and we'll have a honey tasting and post our results.
It's definitely the most pungent, except for maybe that one that you say smells of barnyard all the time. It's the most pungent one you'll ever come across.
Buckwheat, Eastern buckwheat specifically.
It's so unique. It's sort of like a golden syrup or something like that. It's very different.
Interesting. We're going to have more of this going on in the next couple weeks because we've got beekeepers coming on. 2, maybe 3 over the next between now and the end of the month when we go on break for December. But that's really neat. That there's so many. I didn't realize that eucalyptus was like tree. That was quite that generic. I knew that there were many varieties of it, but I didn't realize it quite so many.
I mean, there's one that the koalas eat, which is mostly what is assumed to be the eucalyptus. But
that's what the rest of us think of as eucalyptus.
Yeah. Every tree you see is a gum tree, and they all have that sort of essence to them, and you can get the oil out of a lot of them. So.
Okay. Which, speaking of getting oil out of things and harvesting stuff, you guys, how much foraging do you guys do, Eric, for your meads?
It depends on what it is. So
okay.
All of my blackberries, all of my plums, except for this year. We had a lot of nice people helping me.
They were to say we had a bunch of guys with buckets and a full back of your truck.
Went to work on a tree, yeah. It just kind of depends on what it is. Because, like I said, I have a really good relationship with farmers, so usually they'll just say, here's, a few crates of whatever fruit. Have fun. But if it's something that I plan for every year, then and if it's something that I can get locally, then I will just go take care of it. So, like I said, all my blackberry, usually all my plums. Apple may or may not happen next year. I may go forage that just because I don't necessarily want to impose upon my friends to, bring me apples every year. So I may just, set up a raiding party and head down and go help take care of their orchards and make sure that they're nice, happy, healthy trees, and then collect a bunch of apples for us and for the meadery and then for them, and see what else they've unearthed at that point. And I've got the friends that have the plums and blackberries, they're actually planting a whole bunch of other things for me. So they've got a bunch of currants that are going in. They've got a bunch of mint and chocolate mint that's going in.
Oh, nice.
They have a bunch of herbs that are going in for me. So there's like, we've got 13 acres. If there's anything you want planted or want to start, making mead with or experimenting with, let us know. We will plant it and grow it, and then you just come harvest it.
Yeah, you gotta love that.
So, absolutely. And then obviously they get mead out of it because they don't make mead. I do, but they have fruit and things, so it's kind of a good relationship there, because I still have my 200 gallons I can make at home and
wow,
split off and make some stuff at home and use that for, bartering with friends and family and buy stuff for the meadery from, business assets and keep on going.
So, how often do you ever go wild foraging? Is it,
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah?
It's a little bit tough because I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Aha.
So
attention span things.
Thing half the week. Well, and I do the stay-at-home dad thing half the week.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. So if it's something that I can take them on, like a day hike or something like that, I'm happy to do that. And then as long as I can keep them engaged with something, yes, eat this fruit, don't eat that one, that's fine, don't touch that.
That's poison ivy, honey, no.
As long as you eat less than half of what you pick, we're fine.
Well, that's the deal, yeah. Get sick every year, but God, I still love strawberries.
Yeah, my kids help me when I do pomegranates, which actually is going to be coming up soon. I'll sit there and do the knife work and cut them up, and then put a big bucket in front of them and give them both wooden spoons, and they just beat the snot out of them, and there's pomegranates everywhere, and they eat a whole bunch of it, but they're good little helpers. So.
Well, they're little kids. How much can they eat, really? I mean, that's acceptable.
Yeah.
That's acceptable
okay,
sausage there,
Well, let me explain my kids then. So they're 3 and 5. My daughter. My entire family's Scandinavian all the way back.
I figured that with your name. I've got cousins with names like yours because there's a lot of Norse and Norwegian and Swedish on my father's side.
Yeah. So my son is over 4 feet tall and 60 pounds at 5 years old.
Oh my gosh!
He's eye to eye with most 8 and 9 year olds. My daughter at 3 years old is 3.5 feet tall and 48 pounds.
There's a lot of big
till I was 8.
A lot of big scary Vikings in your
300 pounds.
Wow. A lot of big scary Vikings in your family, I take it?
Yes.
But do you do armored combat?
Yeah, well, of course, yeah.
I do.
You do?
My daughter actually uses the sword better than some people that I've done stage combat with.
Oh, fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I do armored combat myself. I'm an armorer.
Nice. I used to work for a theater company up here in Washington, and we do a lot of stage combat stuff and armor making and all that. So, yeah.
Cool. Funny how so many of us seem to end up in this business.
Uh-huh.
That and we have an overabundance of people with advanced degrees and way too many engineers and scientists.
That's why there's more good mead coming out now, because we're actually applying science and stuff to the process as opposed to basing it off of like really bad tribal knowledge.
Oh yeah, but we've been talking science in
mead.
Mead.
Really bad information.
There is, but I got Mead in the forums. I mean, one of the things I noticed, and this was 15, 16 years ago, back when Mead was still just kind of, people were just still discovering it. I had a pile of people with MSs and PhDs and various things, a lot of them scientists, engineers, IT people. and they'd be sitting there and they'd be going into so much esoteric scientific chemistry involved. Half the time I can't talk to Pete Bakalich because he's got a background in chemistry, and he'll be going, so the pH quotient of the polarity, blah, 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 and I'm going, I have no idea what you're talking about, but it sounds really interesting, you know, because I don't. I mean, my background is in marketing and IT, and, you know, it has nothing to do with that stuff, So
whereas I trained as an environmental engineer, so I even have some of the process engineering and, you know, biofilms and all of that. I actually do have a bit of a background in some of that stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, but the thing is, though, is
me
that
too. I still get lost with Pete, though.
Oh, I know. But it's been going. But the point is that it has been going on. But I guess it's kind of been in the hallowed halls of the basement of the Gottmead forums, you know, because there was also a lot of people coming on going, so, like, do I boil it and for how long? You know, I mean, so we got a lot of that too. But there was quite a lot of educated and very erudite discussion going on about mead and mead making. I mean, AJ knows, she's been around for a while, and you know, so it's been out there for a while, but I think you're right. I think it's just sort of starting to break out mainstream now, where people are really running with the science.
I agree, and I think it's good because there's a lot of us that actually have contacts in other industries, so beer brewers and winemakers, and a lot of those have a lot of science behind them, especially winemaking nowadays.
Oh my God,
and
yeah.
Applying some of that to mead has actually been, I think, a huge benefit. Even though it's not necessarily directly correlated, there's a lot of things that tend to transfer over when we're talking about like yeast health and stuff like that, and specific types of fermentation, like going into malolactic fermentation and what that can actually add to something like honey versus something like with grapes.
Yeah.
So another experiment that's actually coming up soon. But yeah, and then starting to use some non-Saccharomyces strains of yeast and things like that to try to change the character of it and make it different. So yeah, I think the science aspect is huge, and not getting just completely hung up on, well, this is how they made it 6,000 years ago. And you know what? They made it bad 6,000 years ago. It's just because it had alcohol in it that they drank it.
Look at dentistry 6,000 years ago. You don't want that nowadays.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is the case, is that it has changed quite a bit. I mean, and I think most, you know, the professional meaderies at least are using science, but I think you're right that there's a fair amount of residual ideas about what should be done as opposed to what can be done.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think that it's any resistance per se. I think it's just old habits dying hard to some extent.
And, you know, it's hard to challenge the accepted methods when all of the research that's been done has been either on wine or beer.
Yeah, very true.
I'm probably going to get shot for this, but like the Joe's Ancient Orange recipe.
I know.
I can't stand it.
No. There's a lot of people can't stand it, and there's a lot of people that, I mean, we used to.
I'm drinking it right now, actually, and I quite enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of personal taste. I like it. It's easy peasy, and you know, depending on, you know, what you want to do with it, and, you know, what you want to. I mean, I wouldn't say make your professional mead with bread yeast, because there's control issues there. I think that would come into play as well, but you know. I mean, there was one that won gold medals in international competition, the International Mead Festival, and it was a JAO made professionally with bread yeast.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've taken out best in class with it before, and we actually have a specific class for JAO now in our show.
Cool, JAO and its variations. But, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot...
Actually, I had a JAO
Oh, no variations.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, stick to the recipe. Yeah, I get that question a lot. So if I do this, don't do that. Well, what if I didn't know? Just follow the directions. No. Yeah, there's a reason why you make it once so you know how to follow directions, and then we will allow you to make mead with other things. So. Yeah.
And see, I'm over here like, you know what? You have to earn the right to use bread yeast. You have to know why you're using it, what it does, and what it can do, and what not to do with it before you get to use bread yeast.
So you're a reverse bread yeast Oh, that's interesting. I don't know that I've heard that approach before.
You have to earn it. Yeah,
I'm curious
I think you have to have a base level of understanding of fermentation, I think, before you can start using it.
Oh, well,
I'm curious about what you like about...
throw it in the container and toss it on the shelf.